Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to discuss for our assignment an incident that occurred, actually two incidents that occurred with a youth in our office. We are in a reentry agency, so we're Peace Prince of Western New York, and we work with justice-involved individuals. Specifically, I oversee the youth department, which is called Empower Youth. And we work with youth between the ages of 12 to 18 who have some form of justice involvement. They receive a year of case management services when they're enrolled with us. And part of that includes job readiness, linkages with resources within the community, whether it be mental health resources, educational resources, what have you. Um, Heavy emphasis on the mentorship and relationship building piece, which is what we're very focused on here, is developing a positive relationship with our youth so that they trust us, they trust their community, and then they make better decisions. So this youth is new. She is about 16 years old, and she is new to our agency. She was a referral from probation, and I believe she has an OCFS worker as well. So she's very entrenched in the system as it is, and has been for quite some time since her youth. Um, she has had difficulty connecting with her case manager. She's very resistant to services. So she tells us that she has to be here. She doesn't want to be here. There's only been maybe 3 instances of her coming physically to the office. Um, Other times her case manager would have to try and connect with her in the community. But the instance I'm focusing on is an incident that occurred during group, which is held on Tuesdays at our office. And we use a CBT curriculum to teach the kids about how to think differently, behave differently, so they can make better decisions that will divert them from the system. Um, she was very triggered by a word, and the word was mom. We had asked her to turn in her cell phone, which is a rule at group that cell phones go into a bin. We take our hoods down, we get comfy, and she said that that's not a rule in her house, that she doesn't have to give her phone away. Her auntie doesn't care if she has her phone. And the case manager accidentally said, well, your mom doesn't work here, and these are our rules. And I think that set her off and triggered her. And she began to scream. She began to pound on the walls. She was stomping on furniture. It went on for about an hour. Um, and I was in a separate room holding an orientation for new clients with my leadership team. So I was kind of on the outskirts of it and heard what was going on, but the team managed it very well. We were able to get the aunt into the office to de-escalate her because what we were doing was not working. Um, and she left the building. And when I came out of my orientation that I was conducting, posters had been ripped off the wall. The couch was broken. So it was severe. She was severely triggered. Um, and I think that her anger compounded. So as people tried to help her, she got more angry and more angry. And then what triggered her was redirected to whoever was in front of her or what was happening in that moment. So she does have in terms of relevant biopsychosocial factors, she lives with her aunt and her aunt's children and her aunt's grandchildren. She lost her mother when she was very young. I think it was before she was 10 years old that she lost her mother. Her father did not want her and is completely out of her life. And the aunt took her in, has been caring for her to the best of her ability, but this particular client feels very disconnected and feels very alone from what we are understanding, that she doesn't feel like she feels like she fits in anywhere. So that incident occurred, and we came together as a team and, decided that we have to figure out something for her that works for her. And I met with her case manager and we discussed maybe sitting down with her and working on like developing a personal relationship, because that case manager eventually became a trigger for her. So we have to figure out a way to connect with this youth that's not going to trigger her, and we have to do that outside of the office, or in a way that's a little bit more candid. So it could look like not a formal meeting. Let's go to Target and walk around. Let's drive around and just chat. So we had discussed that. And then this youth came to the office the next day, actually, because another case manager connected fairly well with her. And she asked that she come in just to talk. And she came in next day and didn't talk about necessarily what happened, but at least she showed up, and that was good. The following week, she showed up without telling us. So this was last week, that she showed up without telling us that she was coming to the office, and she had a friend. And normally, not that I don't allow youth to bring their friends, but we try and have them at least give us advance notice that a friend is coming, would like to sign up for services, because we just don't want, we don't know who they're bringing. We want to keep the environment safe. So I let her in the door with the friend who she said was her cousin, and that she was here to see Mike. So, which is a case manager. And she brought Mike something, and after that, she went into our group room where we were holding art, and proceeded to essentially pick a fight with another youth. This particular client, as we learned, purposely came to the office to jump this girl. Luckily, nothing happened. We were able to keep her fairly de-escalated. She was yelling a lot. That other youth removed herself from the room, went into another room. We got them out of the building at different times. It was taken care of to the best of our ability, but she purposely came with another girl to try and jump her on behalf of a friend. So they don't even have issues with each other. It's just these influences, outside influences, which are extremely heavy in her life. She does not have good influences in her home, in her school, in her friend group. She's very influenced by what's going around her. And I think it's because of this feeling of not belonging. So she's seeking attachment wherever she can find it. So we discussed briefly perhaps doing a circle with her. But I think that, again, the relevant course of action and the one that we have to do going forward is to meet with her in the community. She's creating an unsafe environment. Luckily, the youth who were in art class were calm. They're used to her behavior. That was her baseline. So they just kept trucking along, honestly, doing their artwork. So we decided that we would have to consider meeting with her outside of the community until we can establish a relationship with her. And that would be on her case manager to do, because we had asked her that day, actually, like, when we are talking to you, what do you need? I need to know how you want to be talked to. It's very different for everybody. And she told me that she just needs to be left alone. So I offered my office to her. If you feel some type of way, come into my office. You don't even have to say a word to me. I could be in a meeting. Just come in. You can sit on my couch, and then I'll leave when I'm done with my meeting if I'm on a meeting. And then she proceeded to, when I told her, like, if this behavior continues though, and we can't learn how to communicate with each other, then it becomes an unsafe environment, and you will not listen to us and let us help you, we might have to call the police, which is not something I want to do, because you'll end up back at the detention center and all these things. And then she proceeded to say that she's alone. I'm always alone. I'm always going to be alone. And after thinking about it, I think that's where a lot of this comes from. She also searched at art class on a communal computer, kind of depressing images of like very sad people. I think she even searched like sad emo pictures to draw, which is really telling for us that she needs us, she needs support, and we have to do our best to get her to engage to help her. So, we're trying to meet her where she's at. We're trying to preserve her dignity, again, as an ethical consideration for our NASW Code of Ethics, is, kind of maintaining that dignity of the person. We're trying to put her best interests first. We're trying to meet her where she's at. I also am assessing this from the theoretical lens of systems theory, that she's very influenced by her environment, mostly negatively, it seems, right now, as it's influencing her behavior. Again, because she feels very unloaded, she feels alone, she feels like no one's there for her in school, in home. Um, she surrounds herself with a group of friends that truly seems to not care about her, that seem to push her to fight in the community and to come to the office and try and fight other youth who are engaged in our program, who are trying to stay on the right track. So she does have a lot of risks. If she gets if she gets into a fight, there's a possibility that she could be sent to placement, and we don't want that for her. So she's at risk of perhaps catching a new charge, a new arrest, which could put her in jeopardy and make her vulnerable to the system again. So with all these things in mind, our idea is, let's focus on developing a relationship with her outside of the office, in the community, and it's very casual, right? Case management does not have to be a formal meeting in an office, behind a desk. It could be conversations on the phone. It could be a FaceTime. It could be, hey, let's go walk around Canal Side, which is in Buffalo, when the weather's nice, and just talk. Let's go get some ice cream. So we're approaching it a little bit differently than with our other youth, who we kind of throw into it. And we're like, okay, here are our goals. We got to focus on goals. We've reassessed it, me alongside the case manager who was assigned, and decided to go that route. But I guess I'm wondering if anybody has any other suggestions about how we should be approaching this, because we were not able to de-escalate her the way that we are with youth who we have a relationship with. We barely have a relationship with her. Again, because she has put up these walls to pretty much everyone around her. So we're trying to break down those walls. So I'm just wondering if anyone has any suggestions on how to connect with her, or how even to de-escalate a youth that you do not have a connection with, who will not listen to you, no matter who has tried, which approach is attempted, will not go down to a baseline that is safe for everybody else in the room. I'm also wondering if anybody has any ideas on how to engage the aunt a little bit better, since the home life seems to be negatively impacting this particular client. And I know the aunt is doing her best. She has a lot of kids. She has to take care of grandkids. If you have any suggestions on how we can include the aunt. We have done circles in the past with family members, and we do plan on doing that with this particular aunt once we develop a relationship with this youth. But short term, immediate needs, I guess, how do we approach this and involve her? It seems like the aunt might be taking steps back a little bit because she has a lot on her plate, and we want to engage her in a way that's meaningful for this client, and it's going to help her, because there's only so much that we can provide for her here. She's always going to go back to that home, and she's very young and can't move out of that home. So I guess I'm just curious if anybody has any suggestions or any other advice to give regarding this client. Thank you.